Why is it that it's only Okiya who usually present these petitions, these bills? Are you the boogeyman?
Maybe I'm sick.
You are always in the protest. Hata ingine ulikulatia gas pale mbele ya Nation Center. So what is the cost?
The cost of liberty is eternal vigilance. I don't want to be asked when this was happening, where were you? I should be able, okay, I tried and failed.
So what was the problem with the NHIF that we had to transition to SHA?
First of all, you have to understand why was NHIF set up. NHIF was never set up for everybody. NHIF was set up for government workers. The elite have no problem with SHIF and SHA. They are getting the cover. Recently I was in hospital and they quickly paid.
Who paid?
SHA paid about 500,000 shillings immediately on the spot. You see. But you're seeing people going to hospital who are sick with huge bills, and SHA is paying 30,000. SHA is paying 20,000. You see. So it is that way, and it's designed to benefit the elite. You can see the fraud scheme that targeted decision makers, make them comfortable, put them in a bubble where they don't see the problems, and the rest of the people can be harassed, but the elite will be comfortable. I was even reading something on social media, I hope it is not true, that the chairman of the Chief SHA is one of the owners of this Bonoko hospitals. Now when you go back and you ask yourself a related issue, the schools, we have also had Bonoko schools.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Where are the majority of them? The Rift Valley.
The Rift Valley.
Who comes from the Rift Valley? The president.
The president.
What is happening between the president and Duale in these fictitious things we are getting?
Hello, good people. My name is Ademba, Allans. Welcome to yet another episode of Vituko Ground. And today I don't want to talk a lot. I'm privileged to be joined by Busia Senator, that is Okiya Omtatah. And to those who don't know, tumeshikwa na Okiya Omtatah tukalala ndani, by the way. That is last year. And we've met a couple of times kwa streets during the protest when people were tukipigania nchi. And today I'm actually privileged to be here with him. And we are going to unravel a lot of conversation, but mostly on the corruption that is happening in Kenya. Why are hospitals getting money, yet these hospitals don't exist? Why are dispensaries being given money? Now, it's not only going to end there, but we are going to be talking across the corruption case. The senator has actually presented over 1,000 files. Nearly on a petition that is presented. So there are a lot of them. But for now, we are going to focus on the corruption that is happening in the country. Let the senator introduce himself.
Okay, my name is Okiya Omtatah, Senator of the Republic of Kenya from Busia. Thank you. Senator,
how have you been?
No, I'm fine. I'm fine. Within the circumstances, I'm doing very well. At least I have a salary which millions of Kenyans don't have, so I'm doing very well.
You have a salary? That's good. Hata mimi nalipwa, lakini by Kenyans, by the way. So, Senator, a lot has been happening in Kenya. Of course, unafuatilia, and you're the best person to help us talk about what is happening in Kenya. A lot of them, actually, and especially on the corruption, because you also have a file or a case on the issue of social health. So, SHA, to be specific, SHA, depending on venye utanaita. What is your take on what is happening right now, before I answer the questions?
I think the big problem with this country is that we don't think matters true. And so, assuming that it was genuine, which it's not, assuming that the president set out to establish universal health care, the question would be, where do you start? Do you start with a software or do you start with the hospitals? He chose to start with a software which is costing us an arm and a leg, literally, at 104 billion shillings. And for comparison, I want you to realize that he's trying to sell Kenya Pipeline Company for 100 billion, 4 billion less than what he's paying these fraudsters in the name of SHIF and SHA. So if he's going to sell a whole Kenya Pipeline, put the strategic assets of this country, sell an asset that God gave Kenya called the ocean, where the ships dock. And then instead of saying we're building this pipeline into Uganda, into Rwanda and Burundi, into Bukavu, in the Eastern Congo, so that we can be the people dominating this region in terms of petroleum products and what have you. The bagger wants to sell it to private investors. You see. So, and he's selling it for 100 billion shillings, yet we have just spent 104 billion shillings buying air, called the software for Chief and Shah. So, the premiums that are being raised to do this insurance, to do this healthcare, are going out largely into the pockets of these people who are running this organization. For example, there are about 6 expatriates paid between 5 million shillings and 2 million shillings per month that to supervise the system.
Just supervision.
5 million shillings, even the president of Kenya is paid less than 2 million shillings a month. But you are paying somebody, like one of the fellow being paid 2 million shillings, if you look at the work description and you strip it bare of the technical terms, he's basically storing hard disks. Is somebody storing hard disks?
Being paid
2 million. The project manager, whatever, is being paid 5. So it's a scam to steal from Kenyans. It was never intended to serve Kenyans. The small things you see being done. For example, for me as an MP today, as a senator. Recently I was in hospital, and they quickly paid.
Who paid?
Sure. Paid about 500,000 shillings immediately on the spot. You see. But you're seeing people going to hospital who are sick with huge bills, and Shah is paying 30,000. Pai is paying 20,000. You see. So it is that way, and it's designed to benefit the elite.
To benefit the elite.
The elite. Those, the elite have no problem with Chief and Shah. They are getting the cover. As I've told you my own example. But the ordinary person is not getting any cover. They're not getting any cover. Wanazungushwa here and there. They're being told pay in advance. Go and borrow a loan from I don't know where. So there are Ponzi schemes that are being run to steal from the Kenyan and to make the unsuspecting public think that the government is working for them. So for me, I would go to the basics and say that you cannot run a universal health care on private hospitals. Have a well done. You want to develop, imitate the developed. We want universal health care, imitate Britain, where this thing has been working from 1948. We had it in Kenya when I was younger. I don't think you saw it. You could walk into a hospital, you are treated, the medicines were branded, GOK. They could not be stolen and taken to the private sector. And the idea of a private hospital was something we never heard of. That you could be treated by a private person in a shop, in a duka or a kiosk, you can go and get treated. We never heard of that when we were growing up. So the first thing the government should have done was to revamp the hospitals, to go back and brand all government supplies so that it's not possible to steal a glove from the hospital, a public hospital, and sell it in a private hospital or in a private pharmacy. Brand all the tablets, brand all the bottles, so that the suppliers are made to brand these things at source. If that had happened, then we would be in a position whereby we could be talking of some universal health care coming in, pay the doctors, get them into the hospitals, pay the nurses, pay the clinical officers, equip the public hospitals. Have the capacity to provide health care at cost. You see?
I see.
Not at a premium where people have done more. Number 2, universal health care, by the very nature of the word universal, means it gets everybody in. Cannot be funded on premiums. Premiums can be introduced for some specialized packs within the structure. Maybe you want, when you go to a hospital, you don't want to use a general ward, you want to use a private ward. There could be extras of that. But the basic level whereby you have got basic, adequate Medicare should be such that you walk into a hospital and it's paid by tax fund, direct taxpayer funds, not levies, not premiums. There should be a clear fund whereby from the general taxes you pay. They go to a place like Thailand, a percentage of the VAT is dedicated to health. In Kenya, we have signed the Abuja Protocol, where we require to at least 15% of the budget should go to healthcare. Should be ring-fenced for healthcare. So that will be another thing. We build up the hospitals. Number two, universal healthcare must begin with primary health, public healthcare. When we were kids, we used to have people walking around even in homes, even checking what kind of sanitation you had in a home. They would walk around to prevent people from falling sick. So the first frontier should be to prevent people from falling sick. So how are we preventing people from falling sick before we prepare to cure them? So you cannot set up a universal healthcare that is designed to cure people without trying to prevent people from falling sick. Another thing to do with the curing, preventing disease is like in the informal settlements in the urban centers.
The slums.
Ensure there is water.
Sanitation.
Just clean water. You will cut the budget by far. You will give these people a good lifestyle. You will cut the health budget. It's a win-win situation.
It's a win-win.
Yeah. Get rid of all these people who are running around with water bowsers, turning off taps and running around with water bowsers to exploit people. And I'm telling you, in the informal settlements, people pay for a liter of water more than I pay for where I live. And yet water is life. So get to the ground, do that. So begin by having a very strong public health program, prevent people from falling sick, then have public hospitals well equipped with personnel and staff to attend to those who fall sick. You do that, you have universal health care. Anything else, ni porojo. And what we have right now, that we are paying premiums, it means only those who are able can be treated. And you have seen people being told, go back. You saw the case of that woman with a tumor, wait for your tumor to mature.
To mature.
Yes. Get more sick before you come. You know, the concept of prevention is not even ingrained in this system, you see. And that's where we have got the problem. So for me, as I said in March, that this is a fraud scheme, very complicated, designed to steal money from Kenyans by giving them an illusion that something good is happening. And occasionally some crumbs fall off. But take very good care of the elite, like myself. Take very good care of them, that if they fall sick, they are attended to well so that they think this thing is very good.
So it's like you people are targeted, the elite. So
yeah,
like
yeah.
Once you are treated, you go, unaenda useme, SHA is working.
It's working. Like for me, honestly, if it was not that I engage with people, I would say, who is this madman saying SHA is not working? Because even before the insurance for Parliament paid the rest of the bill, SHA paid half a million shillings up front. Just as I was admitted, the form was filled. As I was going to the ward, the money was wired.
You know, you're the first person nasikia na complain alilipua bill. In Kenya.
No, I have to say the truth. I was even shocked that they did that. My insurance minute, I think, has paid after a week or so of processing, but SHA paid their share up front. That's how efficient they could be for me. But then compare that to what they're doing for others. Then you can see the fraud scheme. That targeted decision makers, make them comfortable, put them in a bubble where they don't see the problems. And the rest of the people can be harassed, but the elite will be comfortable. That's the design.
Senator, you have been on this earth longer than I've been. And we had NHIF for the longest time possible. Now we transition from NHIF to SHA shift. So what was the problem with NHIF that we had to transition to SHA?
First of all, you have to understand why was NHIF set up. NHIF was never set up for everybody. NHIF was set up for government workers, civil servants.
Government workers.
So that when they fall sick,
they
are covered and the government is able to retain them. It's only the other day that they tried to open up under Uhuru to incorporate civil servants.
Civil servants.
Yeah. So NHIF, the model was very different. It was never designed for universal health care. And that's why even in the NHIF, you could find that the civil servants enjoyed more benefits. Even a sweeper in a hospital, in any paying very little, enjoyed all the benefits. They could even be flown out for operations because it was designed for government workers. It was never designed as a cover for the general population.
The general population.
Yeah, and that's why the comparison with the NHI, with the SHA should end. SHA is supposed to be designed for the general population. The general population when I was growing up was covered by the Ministry of Health. There was no insurance. There were hospitals. You fall sick,
you're taken to the
you walk to a hospital, you are attended to.
by the Ministry of Health.
By the Ministry of Health. You are given, there were clinics, there were the clinic, you had the dispensary, you had the level 3 hospitals, you had the level 4 hospitals, you had the level 5 hospitals, and then you had the centers of excellence. Initially Kenyatta National Hospital, then Moi Referral Hospital in Eldoret as a center of excellence. Now that was a system that worked in the hospitals. There was no insurance.
For
The insurance for NHIF, for civil servants was there.
Yeah.
Then the National Hospital Insurance Fund was there.
Okay. So why did we transition from this to SHA? What was not working for
Like
NHIF?
everything else,
Yeah.
good ideas have been
Infiltrated.
first of all, there was no reason to tie SHA to NHIF.
NHIF.
These are two different concepts. The government workers should have left with their own insurance. Okay? Now, the taxpayer-funded side of things for the general population and everybody else should have continued and run parallel with this one, so that if you are to come, if you are to be like admitted, and you wanted some specialized services that may not be that required money to be paid, the government worker would fall on his NHIF, and you either fell if you had been if the general facilities were not there, which I would not see why it wouldn't be there, you would then be expected to cough some little money or something like that. But ultimately, the basic care given should be the care that is acceptable by the World Health Organization.
Okay, that is good.
So basically that was it. But you see these people come up with schemes. Then you see again now NHIF, the same problem that destroyed NHIF of stealing.
Actually,
through hospitals.
Numerous scandals.
Yeah. Stealing through hospitals is still with us because you are trying to run a public fund on a private implementer. They will loot you. They'll loot you. Yeah. So there's something that happened that when we had the structural adjustment program, where the rain really began beating us. Under Moi's time, when the World Bank and the IMF forced Kenya to take up the structural adjustment programs, and the government stopped investing in goods and services. So the government ended up basically as a taxpayer, a tax collector, who collects money. By the time of giving services, it gives that money to the private sector. There are some services that are so critical in a world, in an economy like ours, where majority of people, over 70%, are very poor.
Are very poor.
The government has to behave like a mother. And the government has to engage with the market in a clever way so that the market does not cloud its vision and they run it out of business. And then the market lacks the capacity to cater for those who are not able to cater for the poor. The market cannot. It has to be the government. So, for me, I think when the structural adjustment programs came in and said the government move out of the provision of goods and services, allow the private sector to come in, and then all these things happened, you found that the country sort of stagnated. Look at countries like Vietnam, which were at war even in 1976, 75, the war was still raging. They were being bombed out of this country by the American, carpet bombing. Look at where they are today.
They are doing better than us.
They are doing much better than we are because of organizing their society to serve the people, not to serve the market. At the end of the day, the people must be beneficiaries, and the market must work within that construct whereby the ultimate beneficiary are the people, not the markets. And that's why we went wrong. And now you find these fraud schemes coming up. You saw the number of hospitals, the fake hospitals that were listed.
That was bad.
Coming out, siphoning this.
And they're still coming up.
And they're coming up. And you look at it and you find that it is really disheartening. If you do an analysis of, if you had a cartographer's mind and you said, okay, which is the geographical area where these hospitals were coming up?
Mostly in the Mandera.
You are northeastern, and who is the minister? That's where Duale comes from.
Duale.
Then you want to ask Duale, what is all this happening in your backyard? Are you facilitating things? I was even reading something on social media. I hope it is not true that the chairman of the Chief Shah is one of the owners of this Bonoko hospitals. Now, when you go back and you ask yourself a related issue, the schools. You have also had Bonoko schools.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Where are the majority of them? The Rift Valley.
The Rift Valley.
Who comes from the Rift Valley? The president.
The president.
What is happening between the president and Duale in these fictitious things we are getting? So, but going back to the point is that what we have is a fraud scheme to mop up money from Kenyans, give them a false promise of a health insurance cover, and steal that money, but send the elite who should be oversighting the country to sleep by making sure that if any of them fall sick like I did, you are paid, your issues are sorted immediately.
We are naongea na alilipiwa.
Yeah.
So, just to say, basically, SHA is working according to them. Yeah. But I have an issue with all this money that we are losing, especially in the parastatals. Okay, hata umeasema that the Kenya pipeline is on auction actually now, was sold at 100 billion. Then we're just coming from Adani and JKIA. So why do we keep having this problem? Okay, what is the need of us privatizing the parastatal, like selling them? You are the right person to ask this because you've been presenting petitions here and there.
There's no need to sell anything in this country. But there's a fraud scheme. See, Kenya, you see, look at all this parastatal. The justification for selling them is budget support. A normal person cannot come up with a budget of 4.7 trillion budget, knowing that if the KRA, and the budget is supposed to be financed with the tax revenue, knowing very well that the projections of KRA have to be hit 100%, will give us 2.4 trillion. So how do you come up with a budget which can only be funded half? Then you come up with this fraud scheme to say that you want to sell state corporations to finance this budget. Make a balanced budget. Live within your means. Make a balanced budget and let the country grow. So, something like pipeline is supposed to be a no-go area. The next thing they're going to privatize is the Kenya military. They're going to privatize the military.
I can't wrap my head on the military being private.
Yeah, they're going to privatize the military because that's the only thing they'll be left with to sell. Yeah, and you see, there are people who run militaries in the world. You saw in, like the Blackwater in Iraq, they have many mercenary groups. They will come here and take over and say, okay, we are going to run this military for you.
We are going to pay you a
certain
amount
pay so much, give us your military. They're going to do that.
And do you think the president would have
because around the amount of stealing, already they cannot sustain a proper military. You saw the other day, they said soldiers have to buy food. Where on earth did soldiers buy food?
Nowhere.
Huh? Where? If you have got a serious military. So they're going to privatize the military because they want to sustain a budget. And it's good premium. The military occupies a lot of land in this country.
Yeah, a lot of land.
Yeah, it has a lot of personnel. You can sell the Kenya military for 3 trillion shillings.
And the reason they are giving is to finance the budget.
Yeah, finance the budget, and anybody, people will buy that military because there are many wars in the world that require mercenaries. Now there's modern wars are fought mainly with mercenaries. not by standing armies. So probably will buy a Kenya army and turn into a militia force and and you'll make profit by owning the military. So if we allow just the market to run everything. So we must go back and realize that in a working polity, primacy of political action cannot be compromised. Look at the Americans. What were they doing with TikTok? In the Chinese, you have to sell it to us.
They wanted to own it.
You have to own it. That was political action, not market forces. So you cannot tell us that the market has to run this country, the market has to organize this country. The market cannot. The market can only function once we have organized this country properly, politically. We have proper banking, we have proper roads, we have proper security, we have proper energy, we have an educated population, then the market will come and thrive. But those things must be done by the state.
But how are we going to do them when the government that we elect is not doing them?
By stopping to elect idiots and beginning to elect people with an agenda to develop this country. Yeah, and it's an existential question you ask. Because the only way things are done in a democracy, how policies are developed, how ideas are worked on, is through politics. So we must give politics to the best we have. Let us stop this idea of politics being a place for scammers. But the Kenyan politics, it said that some countries, the mafia, finance politicians.
Finance politicians. It's the same as deep state here too.
I'll come to that. But in Kenya, the mafia have a country. They are in power. They don't finance politicians. Now, the question of the deep state, I think it has been misused in this country. The deep state is usually that part of the population or the civil service that's entrenched and has got ideas of how this country should move forward. It's not the rabid crooks that you see stealing elections, rigging tenders, wasting money on trinkets and what have you. That's not the deep state. That's the rotten state. The deep state is usually very fine people within a system who understand what needs to be done to move a country from point A to point B. And they will be able to oppose any wave,
that is
to a purely political wave that is trying to disrupt the agenda of the country. A deep state only exists in a society where technocrats run the show. Ours here where politicians run the show, making critical decisions in terms of how public money is to be stolen, cannot work. And that's why I was saying that we need to get the treasury away from the Ministry of Finance and invest it in a civil servant with security of tenure. There you are beginning to create a deep state. Once you have a secure national treasurer who knows what to do, he will not accept the shenanigans going on and those kind of things.
Senator, you have always been in the forefront when fighting corruption and, let me just say, bad governance in general. But from your own county, that is Busia, a lot of money has been stolen, billions of money. So how are we going to fight corruption? Because I know you present petitions here and there, but do they really work? How are we going to fight
the petitions work. They've opened up a lot of space. In 2018, I don't know if you are old enough to remember that during around budget time, people would go hoarding goods. Goods would disappear from the shelves. They wait for the budget statement to be read, and then they would come back the next day. At midnight, they come back with the new prices. The reason was that the finance bill became law the day it was read. It's me who went to court in 2018 before Justice Okwani and challenged that law. And the good judge declared it unconstitutional and ordered the parliament to make sure that the finance bill is debated like any other bill. Now, as a result of that, you have seen the benefits we have had.
We've seen. And
slowly people, when people now began to understand what the finance bill was, it crested in 2024. But the foundation of that is the case I filed in 2018.
2018.
Nobody would have had the chance to go through the finance bill before it becomes effective and have a chance. So the court cases are very important. They clarify the law. They lay down the constitution. And for me, in Busia, I have a few matters which I'm litigating. One, I'm litigating a case to compel the governor to allow me to access the source documents they have used in implementing the budget. These documents are supposed to be on the internet.
But they're not there.
They're not there. I'm the senator and I can't access them.
So how will a normal
So I've gone
citizen-
to court. A normal person, no. So I've gone to court to demand access to this because I strongly believe in open governance. I am in my world, transparency is more important than accountability.
Transparency is more important than accountability.
Yes. Accountability, you can go on River Road and print a fake receipt and account for money that you spend here. And maybe it may not be possible to go through that. But transparency, you'll be seen a mile away if you're trying to steal. So in my world, transparency is more important than accountability. And that's why I'm a strong, strong believer in open governance.
So, the senator, I just want to ask you.
So in Busia, I'm working. I have done a forensic audit, which has established that in one budget year, 2022-2023, 5.2 billion cannot be accounted for.
5.2 billion.
Yes, and even today I was at the audit, with the EACC to follow up the issue, with the Auditor General to follow up the issue, to ensure that those culpable are brought to book. And the stolen assets are recovered and returned to the public. So, there's war going on. It took me a bit of time because I could not access the source documents, but I've been able to access documents from ISMIS and the like, and from the control of budget, and I've used them to put together, with the help of course, fraud auditors, to put together a scenario analysis, and I've come up with a report that shows exactly what kind of scam there was. We have already done an audit of one of the financial years, and we are going to be able to go after the public funds that have been misappropriated, and if they have been used to benefit an individual, that individual will be held culpable. Because Article 226 clause 5 is very clear that if you are in a political office or in a civil service and public funds are lost under your care, you are liable whether in office or not. So we are going to pursue those people in Busia and make sure we firm up the matter.
Okay, the senator, I want us to talk about the odious debt, but before we get to the odious debt that Kenya is going through, just approximately how much do we lose? Because the former president, that is Uhuru Kenyatta, said that we lose close to 2 billion a day. So if that was then how much do we lose these days?
Now, 2 billion a day times 365 days, does not even give you a trillion. Do you know that?
But still is a big money.
It's big money, but I'm trying to tell you that nowadays they're stealing in trillions.
In trillions.
Yes. Nowadays they're dealing in trillions. Right now, I'm working on something where I've identified that through the Kenya Railways Corporation, there's a plan over the next 2 years to steal 2.3 trillion using the Kenya Railways and fictitious railway development.
That is new to me.
Yeah, it's new because nobody knows of it. But I've been digging and I've seen that channel there. So I'm working on something. I want to see how I can intercept it. I stumbled upon it when I was looking at the building of this railway to Karen. I started to begin following with the financing. Then I went to look at the books of Kenya Railways, and I noticed there's a big fraud scheme that has been hatched there to steal 2.3 trillion. But as you have said, officially our debt is about 11.7 as of 30th November 2024.
11.7 trillion.
No, billion.
Billion.
Trillion.
Trillion.
11.7 trillion, that's the debt. I was thinking US dollars. 7.7 trillion Kenya shillings debt. Now, if you do the computation of the valid debt you have borrowed, you find that the valid debt you have borrowed since this new constitution came in, from Kibaki, the debt was about, in 2013, the debt was about 2.7 trillion. Now, after that, we have been borrowing money and paying.
Borrowing and paying.
Borrowing and paying. So if you look at the amount of money we have paid, and you look at the total debt, and over that time, for the last 10 years, we have borrowed about 18 trillion.
Mm-hmm. And our debt
is? We have borrowed about 18 trillion shillings. That is if you take into account the money you have paid plus the fees. Because we pay debt every year.
Mm.
We've got right now in our books, we've got a debt of 11.7. But if you take to 2020, from 2013, the 2013-2014 budget. In fact, I begin with the 2014-2015 budget because remember the 2013-2014 budget was made by Uhuru Kenyatta, made by Mwai Kibaki. The Uhuru Kenyatta government came in 2013. So its budget it made its first budget in 2013-2014. Okay?
Mm.
So in that year, and by the time it came in, it was halfway. The budget process begins in August. So by the time the Uhuru government came in, that budget was basically almost ready. So it was like a Kibaki budget for all practical purposes. So if you use that budget as the cutoff point, then you get that, and you factor in the payments you have made of the debt, what you have borrowed,
and what
you have paid, plus the interest.
The interest.
Okay? So you have got that 11.7 from the central bank.
Mm.
Then you find that you have borrowed about 18 trillion. If you factor in the fees and the interest, the fees for the loans and the interest and what have you, it comes, and what you have repaid, because you have been repaying the debt.
Mm.
So the real debt is 18 trillion. The outstanding debt is 11.7 trillion. Out of that, the legitimate debt we borrowed was about, over the year, the legitimate debt we have borrowed through the budget, the way the law requires, is about 3 trillion.
Mm.
But we have overpaid that debt by about, that is legitimate debt. We have overpaid that debt by about 2.3 trillion.
Overpaying.
So, overpaying. So if you take that 2.3 trillion that has been overpaid as part of the odious debt, then you add it to the 11.7 trillion. You get 13.
13 point something. Okay.
Yeah. You get that? You get about 14 trillion. About 14 trillion of the debt that's odious, that cannot be justified within the Kenyan economy, that you cannot stress in the economy, that was borrowed outside the law, that money was banked outside, and only the debt was brought here.
So close to 14 billion.
Yes.
14 trillion.
Trillion, yeah.
Is a debt that cannot be explained.
Yeah. And
where it went.
Yeah.
Who it served.
Yes.
Or what it's doing.
Yes. And out of that, there's a discrepancy between the figures of the central bank and the figures of the treasury. The central bank figures are the ones which are at 11.7.
Mm.
The treasury figures are at about 6.9.
So rajikanga.
So the issue looks like the central bank has been paying money, has got figures, and it's first servicing figures which are not visible in the national treasury. So that discrepancy is one that I've not yet been able to understand what it is. Yeah, but now, if we take now the 6.9 trillion of the treasury, which you can understand, then you realize that of that, 4.6 went to under Uhuru and 2.3 under Ruto. But that is as per 30th November 2024.
2024. We are in 2025.
Yeah, between now, this half year that has passed, I think matters could be fairly bad.
Fairly bad. Actually, terribly bad.
Yeah.
So, what are you doing about it? Because I know the work of the Senate is to oversight, which is okay. Why is it that it's only Okiya who usually present these petitions, these bills? Why?
Maybe I'm sick.
Are you the boogeyman?
Maybe I'm sick. I don't know, but I want to see a developed country.
You want to see a developed country?
I was born in the third world. I've been to very many countries. The only country where I can be whatever I want to be is Kenya.
Is Kenya.
And I don't see why Kenya cannot be like other countries. These other countries, the only thing we do different, the rule of law. We protect public assets. We uphold the law. I just saw something on which was a very good thing. Somebody I saw on social media today. I occasionally digress into social media. So now that day I came across what I thought was a gem to me. Somebody was saying, okay, we like comparing ourselves to South Korea
and Singapore.
But we forget that in these countries, they prosecute the president. The presidents are in jail.
Any corrupt politician.
Yes. Actually. But no, of course, if you can jail the president,
then you can jail anyone.
You can jail everybody else. So that is what we miss, the rule of law. And that's why I keep on going to court and trying to assert this thing and trying to show people that we have the law, but it's being disobeyed. We have the law, but it's being disobeyed. And we need to rally Kenyans together. Just like I'm telling you about the finance bill. The law was there. But it was being disobeyed and nobody was noticing.
Until you brought it
Until I went to court in 2018 and said the finance bill must be debated. And I've been challenging it all alone until 2024.
No.
When we began understanding maybe that, hey, there's this thing that is eating us.
There's this thing called finance
bill. Finance bill, and we need to pay attention to it. Yeah. And that's how I go to there. But I'm a man who believes in the rule of law. And for me, the law is very important. When I read the book of Genesis, God says, I've created everything, it was good, and he created man in his own image and likeness, and the woman, and said, I put you over dominion over these things. But he never told them that he gave them self-governance. God never gave man self-governance. God put man under the bondage of the law. He said, you must obey the law to stay in this garden.
Yeah.
And then the day they disobeyed the law, they were thrown out. But look at what they would simply have done. When the devil came,
just admitted.
Said no. So when I say no, I'm trying to recover my paradise. I don't want to lose paradise. That's why I say no to these excesses of breaching the law, of doing whatever. So we must recover the power to say no. If you go further from that, those who are Christians, when the Christ was in the fasting for the 40 days, and the devil came upon him and says, just go on your knees, I'll give you everything. Christ said no. And look at, if he had said yes to the devil, the plan of God would again have been lost.
Yeah.
You see, to give us salvation. So, the power to say no to nonsense, the power to say no to attempts to breach the law, is a power every Kenyan must rediscover. And that's why I go to court. I go to court to say no. And by the way, when you say no, you don't commit yourself to anything. You can always go back and say yes. But when you say yes, you can never go back and say no.
Do you ever get tired, intimidated, afraid? Because in 2012, you lost 8 teeth.
10.
10 teeth as a result of you fighting. Then, I can't even count the numbers of arrests then you may be here. I remember just when we were fighting for end abductions KE last year, ulilala ndani, and you almost opened the new year
for sale.
And you are always in the protest. hata ingine ulikula tear gas pale mbele ya Nation Center. So what is the cost for you?
The cost of liberty is eternal vigilance.
Eternal vigilance.
Yes,
Wow.
that's what has been said by the sages who came before. They were hangers, as we call them. It's eternal vigilance. And I want to be in a democratic and free country. And I want to carry my weight. I don't want to be asked when this was happening, where were you? I should be able, okay, I tried and failed. But I never accepted it. Yeah.
So, okay, let us go back to the normal mwananchi sasa, who, because we are basically talking about corruptions in different sectors, but mostly on SHA. Now, the normal person, because we have that case where a person went to the hospital because he had tumor, sent home and told that aende home atulie tu until the tumor grows to the level that SHA covers. Now, and these figures are now coming out. This money is sent to ghost hospitals. This money are lost because we have the ministry led by Ademba. I don't know if he's working or not, but what is the cost now to the normal mwananchi? You've said SHA targets the elite. Now, how is the mwananchi now going to go through it? Because kuna mtu hawezi hata nunua Panadol.
Well, I don't know the answer to that. But first of all, I want to go to that very tragic story. And not only that, I was in Kilifi, in Mariakani to be specific. Around Mariakani, behind there's a place called Tangatsini, Kobachenda area. I was in that area, meeting some people. And I came across a story where I was told that a woman had died in the neighborhood. She was bitten by a cobra. I think she was working in the bush. She was bitten by a cobra. Then Boda came across and it picked her and rushed her to Mariakani Hospital, government hospital in Mariakani. They got there. They asked her for the SHIF and SHA thing. She did not
treatment.
Yeah, she did not know what to say. She's illiterate. She doesn't know her ID number. So they said, where's the ID card? She was told, she said ID card is at home somewhere. So the border runs for the ID card. Time he comes back, the woman is dead.
That's so sad.
Now, what does that tell you? And then this woman is told that you must have, your tumor must grow to a certain size. Already what that tells you is that whoever is receiving those patients, I doubt if he has taken a Hippocratic oath. I doubt if he's a medic. Unless I put civilians there who look at things in terms of money and not in terms of lives. Because for me, really, for a doctor to tell somebody, go back and get more sick before you come, when you know very well that tumors, the advice is that always get rid of them the moment you notice them, at the earlier stages, then you realize that, again, the SHA is being administered by people who are not medics. Telling this woman to wait for her ID to be brought before she could see if she's registered or not, that I don't think that person was a medic. So also the implementation of the SHA might be in the hands of the wrong people. At the point of interface with the public. Is the money first? Is the accountants who are attending to patients and tax collectors, not the medical professionals? Because I can tell you, no doctor, no clinical officer, no nurse was the assault, who has taken the Hippocratic oath, can send a sick person away and tell them, go and get more sick.
And come back.
And then
so we can treat you.
No, it can't be.
Okay, so as we wind up, I want you to take us through your candidature for 2027.
Yeah, my candidature is still on the banner. Maybe it's on the back banner, but it's on the banner. And I'm waiting for the report of the Presidential Exploratory Committee that I appointed last year. They're about to complete their work. Once they issue their report, if the report is, the verdict is positive, we go full throttle. Right now, people have declared their candidates. The other day I saw my friend Kigame have declared the candidate. I'm told on Wednesday at Ufungamano, Boniface Mwangi is declaring to be a candidate, and many other people have declared to be candidates. I am considering declaring to be a candidate. I'm very keen to run as a president, but I want to be scientific about it. If the study finds that I've got no traction,
then you're not going to run.
Then I'm not going to run. But if the study finds that I've got traction, then I'm going to go after it like a shark, an orca shark which has smelled blood. Yeah.
Okay. Do you see Kenya having change come 2027?
Depends on you and me as voters.
The voters.
Yeah. You can change it. The power is in our hands to change it. And there should be change, not just change that is cosmetic. Ruto must go is cosmetic change. Could be changing one devil for the imp for the father devil. The baby devil for the father devil.
For the father devil.
We don't want that kind of cosmetic change. We want foundational change, which begins with the full implementation of the Constitution. And for me, if I got the presidency in my first day in office, I begin working on how to hive the treasury away from the Ministry of Finance and set up a law to lock it away, to lock public money away and give the keys over to professionals so that even me, as president,
You don't have the access.
I don't have the access and I don't want that temptation. In the Lord's Prayer, we say, lead us not into temptation. I'm not going to say that I can resist, therefore. Maybe I've not been exposed to that kind of money. How will I not resist? The best thing is to make it impossible for me to access it. And I'll go back to the Homer's tale, the Odyssey. When Hercules, it is told that Hercules, I don't have it from the fable, it goes like this. Hercules wanted to go for the golden fleece. The golden fleece had to go through the sea, and there were rocks you had to go through, but they needed a magic word that you could utter before they could open for you to go through. So, but to go through them, there were these mermaids who had the magic word, who could speak it out. But the moment you heard their voice, you would be attracted to them, and you'd follow them into the water, drop into the water and become stones. So what happens in that fable, the Greek fable, is that Hercules decides today what? Okay, I'll have my sailors and my workers with me, but I will block their ears so that they can hear nothing. But they will tie me on a pillar with a lot, very so strong that my ears will be working, but I'll be tied.
So that you
I cannot jump and follow the mermaid so that I can hear the magic word to enable me open the rocks. So that the secret gate in the rocks can open, then I can sail through to get the golden fleece. So basically what you are being done, what Hercules does in that fable is to get rid of temptations. Yeah. So the first thing we need to do in this country for a president to do in this country is to kill the imperial presidency. And the imperial presidency is nothing but combining the sword and the purse. We must have the purse back to parliament and retain the sword in the presidency. That way, however much the president is tempted, he has got no capacity to steal. So one thing I'll do is to make it impossible for me to steal.
The Senator, as we wind up, I want you to look at this camera and address Kenyans on how we can create change come 2027.
Well, the change in 2027 is in our hands. And that change is in the vote. So everybody must, every adult in Kenya should make sure that he's a registered voter and turn out to vote. And vote in such a way that his vote is influenced by his mind, not by his temporary needs. Vote for people right from the MCA to the president. Vote for people whom you know and you trust. Vote for people whose track record speaks for itself. Let nobody come up with a messianic garb that he has picked along the way and pretend to be the solution of this country. and vote for the law. Let us vote for an agenda. Let us see people who have got that agenda that wants to implement the Constitution of Kenya as the first building block for a democratic state. And then vote for people who have got an agenda to create material progress. What are their tax policies like? What are their foreign policies like? What are their domestic policies like? People want to see the villages thriving with rich people. And come 2027, we are rolling out our manifesto. Come the end of this year, we're rolling out our manifesto or ideological position to ensure that the country works. For those who know, I've always proclaimed that I'm a civic Republican. And a civic Republican basically believes in a few things, which are virtue, prosperity, rule of law, private property, and above all, the primacy of political action over market forces, so that the country exists to serve the people, not the people existing to serve market forces.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
So, good people, thank you once again. And that has been my time with the senator. Until next time, and I'm hoping that the senator declares that he is running for presidency so that I can vote for the right president, actually. I will vote either way, but so that I can vote for the right person. So, until next time, thank you for always watching, subscribing, and sharing. And you want to join the family, you can do by commenting on the video.